Red Dead Redemption 3, quote, will probably happen. Words to surely delight fans of one of the greatest video game series of all time. Those were the words of Rockstar Games co-founder and former lead writer Dan Houser in a recent interview on the Lex Fridman podcast, where he spoke about all things from his favourite films, the GTA series, Red Dead Redemption, life lessons, advice and the future of gaming. If you haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend that you do. I'll link the episode below in the video description. Now, firstly, yes, Dan is no longer involved with Rockstar, having left the company officially in 2020. This isn't confirmation from Rockstar themselves that they are working on RDR3, but, and I don't want to use the term stating the obvious, I don't believe this statement should come as a shock to gamers either. In this short video, I wanted to quickly talk about one segment of that podcast interview, and then if we do see another Red Dead Redemption game in the future, what do I believe as a fan that could look like? And please give me your thoughts in the comments as well. In the segment of the podcast I'm referring to, Lex was asking Dan about the upcoming GTA 6 release. Dan, as previously mentioned, left Rockstar over 5 years ago now, so GTA 6 is going to contain a story and character he didn't develop. Lex asked Dan about his feelings towards GTA 6. Is it bittersweet to watch it having not been involved, or is it more exciting? This was his response.
How would I describe it? Of course, it's all of the above. You know, it's exactly as you know, pleased to be doing other stuff, excited for what we're working on now, super excited. Of course, letting go of something I worked on it one way or another for like 20 odd years, you know, and wrote on them for the last 10 or 11 that came out, wrote all of them, or, you know, lead writer on all of them, whatever it was. So of course, letting go of that is, you know, is a big change and a lot and sad in a way, because it was, each of the games was a kind of standalone story.
This was when he brought up
It's
Red
not
Dead Redemption.
quite the same as I think probably it would be in some ways sadder if someone continued on Red Dead because it was a cohesive 2-game arc. That might be more sad to hear someone working on that, but again, that will probably happen too. I don't own the IP. That was the sort of part of the deal. It's a privilege to work on stuff, but you don't necessarily own it.
And there was the comment, it will probably happen. Do we think Red Dead Redemption 3 is an inevitability? Well, until Rockstar officially announce it, no, but Houser isn't the only person who has worked on the series and stated in interviews that we've not seen the end of it. Roger Clark, who played Arthur Morgan, the main playable protagonist of Red Dead Redemption 2, has said in a number of different interviews over the years that he feels we'll see another game. When that will be, who knows, but it will happen eventually. He posted about it on X as well in 2023, quote, "I'm certain we will see Red Dead Redemption 3 one day. When that will be, I have absolutely no idea. Don't count on Arthur's involvement either, his story has been told, I feel." So, not an official announcement, and with the focus very much on GTA 6 due out next year, even if this is the next development from Rockstar, don't bank on anything soon. I said in the introduction that I didn't want to use the term stating the obvious, but why do fans, writers and actors alike all believe this will happen eventually? It comes down to the overwhelming success and size of this franchise. Don't forget RDR2 is a game that won over 175 Game of the Year awards amongst numerous other accolades. It won 4 awards at the Game Awards, including Best Narrative, Best Performance with Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan, Best Music Score and Best Audio Design. We're fast approaching 80 million copies sold worldwide, and that's on top of the 25 million copies sold of the first Redemption game, as well as that game collecting 26 award wins and 22 other nominations. We feel like it's coming because, are Rockstar really going to leave this franchise alone? So let's say in the future it does happen, what would it look like? If we do see Red Dead Redemption 3 in the future, and it is linked to the Redemption story arc, they could of course decide to move forward with that timeline and continue the story of Jack Marston. Personally, I think this would be a mistake though. Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Revolver are intrinsically linked to the American Wild West, the era of gunslingers, cowboys and horses. After John Marston is killed in 1911, betrayed by Edgar Ross and shot by a firing squad of US Army soldiers and marshals, Red Dead's short epilogue eventually saw Jack avenge his father, killing Ross in a duel by a river in November 1914. By this point in the timeline, World War I had already started, and although the United States didn't enter the war until 1917, we're really running out of time here to set another game involving Jack. If Rockstar decide to move post-World War I into the 1920s, the Old West days were long over, and we'd be looking at a game more akin to Prohibition-era gangsters like Al Capone than a true Red Dead game. I believe there's two ways they could go, and should go if we see this franchise continue in the future. I think what will happen is we either see a spin-off, either with loose ties to the story or no ties at all, like Red Dead Revolver. Maybe they even revisit the story of Red Harlow again in some way. Or the other more likely option in my opinion, we keep going backwards and we see the redemption storyline continue from an earlier point. Based on the previous mentioned success of Red Dead Redemption 2, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if this is a carrot just too tempting for Rockstar to ignore. Firstly, from a writer's perspective, you are looking at a much broader timeline to pick from. Do they go back a couple of decades to when Arthur was a teenager, when it was just him, Hosea and Dutch? According to the timeline, they recruited Arthur in 1877, leaving 22 years available until events of Red Dead 2 to create the next part of the story. Or do we begin even earlier? Could we play the prologue as a young Hosea and see him meet Dutch for the first time, for example, before taking over as Arthur or another character? They could of course go much closer to events of Red Dead 2. Jack Marston is born in 1895, and shortly after in 1896, his father John deserted the gang for a short while. This is an event which Arthur holds against John still in the early chapters of Red Dead 2, and by this point much of the Vanderlig gang we know is together, leaving a comfort blanket of rich character storytelling available that players already know well. Bill Williamson was out of the army and running with them. Javier Escuela joined in the mid-1890s, followed by the Callender brothers, Charles Smith, Jenny Kirk, Lenny Summers, and lastly Micah Bell. We could see the beginning of the feud between Dutch and Colm O'Driscoll, with Dutch killing Colm's brother and Colm retaliating and taking the life of Dutch's lover, Annabelle. And maybe, just maybe, we go right up to where events of Red Dead 2 begin, the infamous Blackwater Massacre. By going backwards, Rockstar can firstly catch their net much wider, but in going backwards they also have the option to continue with one of the most beloved and well-written protagonists in video game history, Arthur Morgan. Roger stated he feels that story has been told. It will be hard for Rockstar I feel to go backwards and not have him in it in some way, unless they spin off Red Dead Revolver style and told something else, but either way, the thought of more of this series is something that genuinely would excite me, even if it's most likely a long way off. And if we never see another Redemption game, I'd be cool with that too. It ended in such a great place, it really would be a case of going out on a high. I just think the pull of this franchise and how successful it was, how loved Arthur and the gang were, this chapter isn't closed yet. What are your thoughts? Would you like to see another Redemption game? And if so, do you think they'll go backwards in time again like me? Do you think we'll see another game, but it'll be a new story, away from the Van der Linde gang? Or would you prefer it if they moved on to another IP altogether and let this one be, the all-time gaming classic that it already is? I'm Mike the Gaming Dad, and I'll see you next time.